Mediterranean diet, plant-based vegetables, fruit, whole grains, legumes, nuts, herbs, spices, olive oil, fish, poultry, and red wine. Are we really serious? American Journal of OBGYN reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, mortality, cancer, and cognitive diseases. Based on what proof? None. Remember, the opiate-like substances, morphine-like substances come from grains.
I did wonder if there was any evidence on the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet probably has more evidence than any other diet when it comes to improving health outcomes. Adherence to a Mediterranean diet is associated with more healthy physical and cognitive aging, and the available evidence is large, strong, and consistent. Better conformity with the traditional Mediterranean diet is associated with better cardiovascular health outcomes, including a meaningful reduction in the risk of coronary heart disease, ischemic stroke, and total cardiovascular diseases. And when it comes to cancer, the Mediterranean diet appears to contribute to a reduction in the risk of cancer, likely due to the fact that many of the foods that are consistent in a Mediterranean diet have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and can prevent or counteract the DNA damage that typically induces the progression of cancer. When it comes to cardiovascular disease mortality, especially in patients with metabolic syndrome, a higher intake of vegetables, legumes, nuts, and a higher intake of monounsaturated fats is associated with a significant reduction in all-cause mortality, as well as a reduction in cardiovascular mortality, whereas the consumption of the foods recommended by this practitioner appear to increase the risk of cardiovascular disease mortality in participants with metabolic syndrome. It is true there are specific molecules in the food that this individual mentioned that have the ability to bind to the endocannabinoid receptor. With that being said, this is actually one of the reasons that the Mediterranean diet has such a profound effect on reducing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Therefore, despite making it sound extremely scary, this likely actually is a beneficial thing. And in the grand scheme of things, the Mediterranean diet has been demonstrated to reduce the risk of all of the conditions mentioned in this advertisement. That does not mean that you have to do a Mediterranean diet, or that I even recommend a Mediterranean diet. But there is absolutely evidence to back up the statement on this advertisement. And telling people there are opioid-like substances inside of these foods is an over-exaggeration of their actual affinity to the endocannabinoid receptor and their actual effects when ingested. And this mechanism of action is actually one of the reasons the Mediterranean diet has such profound effects on cognitive well-being and reducing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. With that being said, if you would like an individualized approach to your nutrition and lifestyle to optimize your health, energy, and body composition, send me a DM to sign up for coaching.